Now, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime is raising concerns over the rising drug trade throughout West Africa. Officials say sophisticated means of transporting drugs using planes and submarines has resulted in fewer drugs being seized. At a recent conference in Senegal, the topic of discussion was the extent of West Africa's involvement in drug trafficking. A UN official says West Africa is now a big player in the smuggling of cocaine to rich European markets with minimal detection. Alexandra Schmidt, head of the UN West African Office on Drugs and Crime, says the evasive ways of transporting cocaine explains the drop in the seizures of the drug headed to Europe from 47 to 35 tons between 2008 and 2009.
The drug traffickers have much more sophisticated means, and they are using new routes, as well as a new capacity of transport. We are talking about boats, planes of small and big capacity. We are also talking without doubt of submarines, so please be careful. The drug market has never diminished. It's simply our means of seizing those drugs that has diminished.
Experts say that the flow of cocaine funneled through West Africa's fragile states to Europe is quickly rising on the agenda of the international law enforcement agencies. Many countries are fearful of the drug trade because it can corrupt states, spread instability, and cripple a region's economy. The value of the drugs passing through West Africa in 2009 was estimated at $800 million. Schmidt says Latin Americans are still dominating the decision-making in the trade, but West Africa's role is gaining influence. He says the trend is similar to the way Mexico has increasingly displaced Colombia in the ferrying of Andean cocaine to the United States.
We need to take note that we actually have information that local people here have started to have a greater power of decision in the narco trafficking in West Africa. People who come from this region. It's a new tendency, and what we are seeing in West Africa is like the system we saw in Mexico. In the same way that the drug cartel in Mexico has started to replace the Colombian drug cartel. We see something similar developing here in the region, with certain nationalities here who are starting to have a more and more important say and decision-making power in narco-trafficking.
Concern over the trade has been deepened by fears that Al-Qaeda's North African wing had established itself as a player in the trans-Sahara flow of drugs. Schmidt says though there is no evidence of the terrorist group's involvement in drug trafficking, it has earned money through collecting multi-million-dollar ransom payments for kidnapped Westerners and serves more as a local fixer than a central organizer. Schmidt is calling on nations to do more to fight illegal financial enterprises, especially money laundering. Now, the issue of drug trafficking in West Africa was taken up by the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee in 2009 because of its threat to the U.S. interests.